we're going to start shading and learning about value in drawing. This is the sample of the page you will be working on in a few minutes with the value range from light through all of the mediums and the darks. And the pencil we are going to be using is called in Prismacolor Ebony, jet black, extra smooth. This pencil will do all of this light, medium, and dark shading. A couple things about the pencil itself. It works really well if you work with it sharp. Here's a little drawing cutaway of what the pencil would look like if we were to slice it right down the middle. When these pencils get dropped on the floor, the inside, the graphite, starts to crack up. You know, imagine if this was being dropped on the cement for some reason and this starts to happen. And then when people go to use them in the pencil sharpener, that's when the tips break off and get stuck in the pencil sharpener. It's a pencil that somebody had dropped. So please be careful with them. I know they're round, they roll off the table, but don't let them drop. This is a good time to talk about some pencil grips. This is a little bit like having a special grip on your golf club, or how you hold your tennis racket, or if you ride horses, how you handle the reins and how that translates to the end of the bit, to the horse. Lots of times we hold our pencils very tight and at the very, very end, and this is a good way to get super, super darks, especially if you want to bear down really, really hard. It's hard to get lights when you're holding it that close to the tip. If you want to get lighter with your pencil, you have to both loosen your grip and slide your pencil so it's about halfway, and you can get even lighter. If I want to get super, super light, I'm going to hold it way out on the end. And not only am I going to hold it way out on the end, I'm going to push down with my thumb just a little bit, and I can shade on my paper and get something so light you can barely even see it. Okay, so that's just the basics. You can hold it close for dark, middle for medium, way, way, way at the end for super, super lights. So when you're working on your value scale page, I want you to write the definition, value, the relative lightness or darkness of a tone or color. The first one is a 10-step. And your job is to make 10 equal value changes up here using this pencil. Primary application. That means you put it on and you leave it alone. What I did when I worked on this is I built up layers. Layers is your friend. If you push down really, really hard to get your black straight off the bat, it kind of smashes the paper and makes it bubble in a funny way. But when I start with my darks, I'll start with kind of a medium and get it going one direction, and then lace it back and forth going different directions. And that sort of cancels out the pencil strokes. It makes a fine mesh of pencil lines. And those marks start to go away. Sometimes we want marks to show, sometimes we don't. Right now we're going to practice making the marks not show. Blending has a completely different look than primary application. And this can be important when you're working on your drawings, your larger finished drawings, what kind of look you actually want to have. Oh, I can just keep shading on this and shading on this, but that's just two small patches to show you how you can develop values in here. And then my darker ones, after I get some middle tone on there, I can really start to bear down and get my pencil going different directions. And I can build up that dark really fast and make it look good. Cross-hatching, that's texture. It makes it look like it's got marks on it. Different people will have different cross-hatches because it comes up a little bit like handwriting. Basically, you're going to make little lines that go different directions. But it's the same concept as this. If I want lighter crosshatch, I'm going to hold my pencil back a little bit, have my lines go different directions. If I want medium, in the middle. More lines closer together. Darker, towards the end. More lines on top of each other. You can probably hear that because I'm working it pretty hard. Some people will take a space and try to make their lines go all the way across for crosshatch, and you can do that. or you can do little patches that go different directions. I did little patches that go different directions, but you can have your lines go all the way across. Diagonal, up and down, horizontal. For the blending tool, I'm just going to use a little piece of paper towel for now. Blending tool won't let you get away with sloppy application. You still have to get a nice application on your paper before you buff it in. But the buffing will take care of some of those marks, not all of them. I still like to layer them back and forth. I am getting a little more sloppy, aren't I? So I can take care of that with my blending tool here. And keep in mind I'm doing small patches on this page because it probably took me an hour to do all of that. Line that up a little bit, buff it down. One of the things that happens when you buff it down is it tends to get just a wee bit darker than you think it is. And you can always work back into it and add more. Because you have to show a range, light, medium, and dark, light, medium, and dark. The bottom 3 squares is a contrast exercise, so you can see what happens when you have values, like one value next to a different kind of value. What I would like you to do on your paper is to make a change, shade the same medium gray in the small squares, in the B shade a light medium gray around. Now here's the thing, these 3 grays are the same as that one up here. It's going to fool your eye a little bit because that has white, high contrast. That's a light gray, not so high contrast, and the dark, dark, dark gray makes that look lighter. But if I take my paper and fold it very carefully, look how close together those grays are. And then I'm going to take that middle gray and hold it up here. Look how close that is to the number 5. And that's the same gray here. And I can't quite get it together. There. So the value page. You might want to practice on a piece of scrap paper first. Get a handle on how to use the Prismacolor Ebonies. Remember not to drop them, please. Primary application, put it on, no blending. Crosshatch. Put it on, blend it. Contrast exercise. Medium gray, medium gray, medium gray. Leave it white, light gray, dark gray as you can get.